Today we have sessions by Dr.D.K.Hari and Dr.D.K.HemaHari. Couples have traveled across about 25 countries to document various cultures of the world, and especially with reference to Indian knowledge systems and Indian sciences and technologies. He has traveled into several countries. Say, for example, we had Britishers ruling India, French, Dutch, and there are so many people who have come to India. They have not only looted, they have also taken so many artifacts, and now many of these things, historic things, are all available in various museums in various parts of the globe. And what they have done is they have traveled on their own interest, they have traveled on their own cost, they have traveled various countries, visited museums, taken, documented all those things, and not only that, they have their lot of independent research work which they have done, and one of the marvelous things they have done is writing something which you will definitely be amazed to listen, which is the autobiography of India. So it is in 11 volumes they have brought out, and I can proudly say that the contribution of Dr. D.K.Hari and Dr. HemaHari with reference to Indian knowledge system is maximum when it comes to anybody who have contributed in the area of Indian knowledge system. So much documentation they have made, and they have come out with books which are all masterpieces. And apart from that, they have a website called BharathGyan, and this BharathGyan has wonderful information, banners, small the mini books, and they have a full version of the books. So they have endless literature. I don't know how they find the time for us to read. That itself is a big thing. And they have this in this website called BharathGyan. They have a lot of capsules-based information. That is, they have about more than about 120 capsules, I suppose, by now, and they conduct courses. The courses of the future standard is what their courses would be like. So definitely it would be a great. It is rather a great opportunity for us for having with us Dr. D.K.Hari and HemaHari. You will witness what I have told in the introduction through their talks. Sir, without me taking much time, I request you to take over, sir. I welcome on behalf of Bharatiya Sanskriti Utsava, on behalf of Bharatiya Gyan Vigyan, Paramparic Gyan Vigyan Sabha, then Bharat Vikas Sangam and Rajiv Dikshit Vichara Vedike. Incidentally, he is also associated with Rajiv Dikshit also. He has interacted a lot with them. So I request all of you to give your attention. Sir, I request you to take over, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. D.K.Hari for a very detailed introduction of us and our work. We are glad to state here that we know you personally for about 20 plus years now, and we have also been seeing the amount of passionate work that you have been doing in the field of BharathGyan Parampara for the last 2 decades and more. In your personal capacity, we would like to state on record and appreciate your seva to this field too. Having said that, we, as you correctly said, Swargya Rajiv Dikshit ji, we have had the good fortune of knowing him then personally, interacting with him on multiple occasions. We have been to Sevagram to spend a couple of weeks with him, and also he has come to Chennai to spend some time with us. We have shared platforms on multiple occasions, like in Amravati, etc., different places. Every time we met him, he always spoke fondly about North Karnataka, being a place where he's doing a lot of work and where he is meeting people in North Karnataka. And I'm glad that this event is being held in North Karnataka, and that's a place that he was doing a lot of work with, was passionately associated with. So our pronounced to Swargya Rajiv Dikshit ji, as you have so rightly termed him as an Ashtra Bandhu, which he certainly was. There's no doubt about it, an apt term for him. Then during our visit to Sevagram Vata, we also had the good opportunity, the good fortune of interacting with Swargya Sri Dharampal ji on more than a few occasions, listening to him in person, asking him searching questions, getting answers for it. So these are all very unique opportunities of life, fortunate aspects of life that we have had when we interacted with the persons. So now, when we talk about the contribution of Swargiya Dharapalji, we just make a brief start. See, because his work itself is tied up. Yeah, so this is a famous quote which Mahatma Gandhiji made at the Chatham House in October 1931. That's almost 100 years ago, which started a lot of back and forth questioning, which led to the idea of the beautiful tree, the book itself. And this is where, and they did leave a wonderful tree to rot and perish, unfortunately, over the centuries. But the statement of Mahatma Gandhi in Chatham House started a dialogue between Philip Hartog and Mahatma Gandhi, but he couldn't prove it with data because when he came back to India, he was jailed in the Aga Khan Palace, so he couldn't prove it. Then it fell upon his disciple Dharapalji, who worked on social life and the guilds of pre-British India as per British records. And on two things. One, we had the opportunity of interacting with Dharapalji in person and going through his handwritten documents. And about 25 years back or more, we also had personally the good fortune of visiting the East India Office Library, which is now part of the British Library.
Oh, very nice.
Basically going through the records ourselves too and collating data and sort of matching it with what Dharapalji has done and come up with various aspects of what he showed in different parts of Bharat. So from which came out his very seminal work called The Beautiful Tree. Amazing work, The Beautiful Tree, which came out from there. So having said this, the introduction and thereon with the works of Swargiya Sri Rajiv Dixit, we have been able to do commendable work in the field of Indian civilization knowledge. And if you look at it, it speaks about the works. Different people have come up with their own ideas 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago about education and how they all thought of different aspects of education, different great scholars of India. And here's Swami Vivekananda himself with a wonderful statement about education is where you need to form the character. You have to bring in strength in the mind, expand the intellect, because only then a person can stand on his own. That is what our traditional education system was giving us, whereas the imported education system was quite wrong. But what's happened is, while there have been many people, as you said, trying to do it, it's all been still the mainstream education is still very much Macaulian, in spite of a lot of effort. So but we need to evolve and move on in life to different varieties of people have spoken about it. If you look at fundamentally one aspect, there are two levels of skills. One is a hard skill, other is a soft skill. Hard skill is all about your arts and sciences and STEM as they call it these days now. That's what comes out. Okay, the soft skills are all to deal with the mind. Development of it very important because that's what, especially in the world of AI, it is the mind that separates a man and a machine. The idea of communication, where we communicate to each other, intercommunication is absolutely important. Now we have, see, earlier a few decades back it was only IQ. Now we got IQ, EQ, SQ, so many more Qs. All these quotients add up to this. What does it do? It creates an interpersonal relationship. That's very important, all these things. So if you look at overall how we see education itself between the English system that was imposed on Bharat and which created India to the traditional system, you see, it was the hard skills that were taught in the English system, and the skills that were needed for life and communication and understanding and grasping came much later. Whereas if you see in the traditional Bharata Gurukula system, the mind, manas, was built as a receptacle to take in all the soft skills. And then the hard skills were taught later and later. So that's a fundamental difference because the brain is like a sponge. 70% water, certainly yes. So it takes on what you bring in. So you should not be limited only to the Western knowledge, but we should look at it from a multi-skill perspective, which is what our traditional system of methodology of training gave us about from a child to adolescence and beyond, when it's the real learning age, where how you use the brain, how you use the mind, the aptitude aspect between them. One is the brain gets in the technical skills, the mind gets in the aptitude skills. And that is what we need to look at. How we need to, where do we give the importance so that we become a better rounded person and be able to handle life itself and whatever the life throws at us through the ages. This is very, very important. So this is where the Bharatiya Jnana Parampara, the Indian knowledge system, comes into key play. So that is what we want to do. One opening aspect we want to highlight this. We look at some more aspects and we go along for next some more pillars.
Because today when we think of IKS, we tend to think of only IKS as sciences and how we can use olden, ancient sciences, our traditional sciences, and apply it for modern scientific development or modern technology and so on. We fail to realize one other aspect of IKS, which is strengthening your soft skills, strengthening and giving you mind training and character development, personality development. Because as Indians, it is the Indian knowledge that can help you develop and blossom fully. So that aspect of IKS is also very equally important. And when we say that Indian knowledge, the knowledge base has a lot that we can leverage. By nature itself, if you see, India for millennia has been recognized as the knowledge giver of the world. And there is a very beautiful example for this.
Before that, I just because when Dr.D.K.Hari introduced us at the beginning, he spoke about 11 volumes of ours, among our autobiography of India series, especially Brand Bharat and Breaking the Myths. He spoke about, he mentioned it. So those aspects, bring in the data which is given in public domain. Now I want to talk a little more about the specific aspects.
So actually, if you look at it, all along, even Varamira very explicitly, he talks about how we had a very good handle on what are sciences and how it is a body of knowledge that has grown so far. It is growing even during his times and will continue to grow in future and keep affecting man's life. That is the beauty with which he has very briefly summarized what is science. And we all know that it is called Vijnana. So you have the Bharatiya Jnana Saurabha that's going on. There is also the Vijnana, which is about getting into very specific niche aspect. You're going to be looking into one of the niche disciplines, which is Ayurveda. The discipline may be niche, but it is over-encompassing because it deals with your entire body, mind, everything as well. So
you see what is Jnana, what is Vijnana? The V, the prefix, brings in the idea of incisiveness, a deep type, bisect, trisect, assimilate, special. So these are, people think these are new age words. No, these are as old as our civilization and they have deep meaning for us through the ages.
So let us look at this beautiful representation of what the world thought of Indian knowledge consistently for millennia. And which is why we need to preserve our Indian knowledge base, see how we can apply it even in present times. So for the Chinese, they divided the 5 ancient civilizations into 5 kings of the world. So they called themselves as king of humans because for them, their people, their skill was to obey. So king of humans. Turks, they call them as king of lions because of the courage. Persians, they call them as the king of kings because for them Persia was a land of wealth, fertile lands and a lot of food and everything. Rome, king of men because they were very robust and very handsome people, good build. Finally, Indians, they call them king of wisdom. So this is how they saw the world, the world that the ancient civilizations of the world, the Chinese, the Turks, the Persians, the Romans and the Indians. And amongst all of them, they slotted India as the place of wisdom and the people of Indians as king of wisdom, which we very beautifully ourselves have also recognized and called us very aptly. We've called ourselves as Bharata, people who relish knowledge. Knowledge, light, enlightenment.
Bhaskara, Bhanumati, Ba stands for light, enlightenment, knowledge. So Ratha, Rati, the one who relishes knowledge. So Bharata, a land which relishes knowledge. And look at this. It's what Hema said is so nice. What we have taken into understanding is, it's not important if we call ourselves people of knowledge. Our adjacent civilization, equally ancient, a civilization with whom we have had continuous connects across millennia, both over land and sea. What do they call us? A land of knowledge, a land of wisdom. So that is it. So it's not enough if you call yourself good and capable, or noble, or intelligent. Your neighbor should call you so. So your peers should call you so. We're talking about peer review today in journals. Here is a peer review of the civilization itself. And this happened millennia ago, it held good till the present. That's the beauty of what we're trying to say.
And there have been many other scholars from different parts of the world who have vouched for the knowledge of the civilization. We'll just see one of them. So see here. This is around 700 CE. And this is
1,400 years back.
This is a person from Basra in Baghdad. And he's talking about all the numerous disciplines in which they looked up to India for knowledge, from astronomy, mathematics, medicine. And saying as for medicine, they are the ones to own its secrets. And owing to it, they practice wonderful treatments, which you're all going to be discussing in the next few hours. And then they also talk about the art, they talk about the games, chess, music, dances, they even talk about magic, fumigations, so many things. And even about storytelling, beauty, anything you name it, they talk about it, in astronomy. And so this knowledge base.
So we not only got confirmation from China, which is to the northeast, we also got confirmation from Persia, which is to the west. So all-round confirmation that this land has been an epitome of knowledge and has been sharing knowledge with the world is what said. And as recently as a century back, also he says how it's been a source of inspiration of knowledge. The literature has been a source of inspiration to guide in scientific investigation, not just in alankara, not just in beauty, not just in arts, but in scientific investigation to form the modern scientific theories. That is the key point. So it's all around we see how the Bharata knowledge has been much respected and welcomed through the land. So when our Honorable Prime Minister, he came up a year and a half ago on the Independence Day from the ramparts of the Red Fort, he came up with something called Pancha Prana, the pledge, where he not only speaks about developing India, because Bharat, he speaks about removing the colonial mindset, much needed, because we have to develop ourselves, we need to remove the colonial mindset. We'll have to take pride in our legacy, which is what we are doing. BharathGyan, which is what Anachandra is doing, which is what Jnana Saurabha, everybody is doing that. So that is our strength. And only then we will be able to fulfill our duties as citizens. That's what is important. And in this comes the concept of NEP, because all of them speak about NEP. But in what context does it come? It comes in this context, very clearly, of getting to our heritage, our Indian knowledge system, of ethos, culture, and it is not limited to values. Values is absolutely important. But you have to look beyond values to the ethos too. That's where, and it creates and developing the creativity of the students. It's not limited to knowing only the English language. Creativity can be any language of your choice, in your Matrubhasha. That's the beauty of it.
So, now that you have this pledge we have all taken, and we know that we want to bring this knowledge base to the fore, start using it for our benefit, how do you actually go about it? What are the various challenges? So if you look at it, you can't all of a sudden take a Rasaratna Samuchaya. Dr. Harichandra could, but not everybody can. So you can't take such a book and then suddenly start coming up with inventions and discoveries. So where it first starts is right from childhood. you have to start exposing. See, the colonial mindset is there. So awareness is the first step.
Remove the colonial mindset, start awareness of the Bharata mindset.
So that is where you first start with your awareness. Only when you are aware that there was this knowledge base, that there was an Anjalis in Basra, Baghdad, who were appreciating it in 700 CE, then will you start appreciating it yourself. So unfortunately today, unless somebody else outside tells you that everything you had was good, we needed the Chinese, we needed the people from Basra to tell us that you had knowledge. Only now we will start appreciating, yes, we did have knowledge. And what was this knowledge? Only when you start appreciating will your interest grow in it. And only then you will start assimilating. Will you open up your ears and eyes to receive this knowledge? Otherwise, you're not going to be in a frame of mind to even receive this. So you start assimilating it. So all of this comes in the scope of teaching IKS, making people aware of IKS. So this is all about the dissemination aspect of IKS. Now, after you have assimilated enough is when you will be able to take, let us say, Rasaratna Samuchaya or any of the works, and then see what is it that you can take from that for adapting to your present day needs, your present day challenges. So that is when you will actually come to that stage, and there is so much of preparation that needs to happen to bring somebody to this level of being able to adapt. And we will see why these steps are needed. And from here is where then, once it has been adapted also, then you have to put it to test and bring it to all kinds of, a state where it can be rolled out through the entire country, nation or world, whatever. So that is when you call it an application. Until then it's only an adaptation. You come up with something, yes, it is adaptable. Then what all needs to go in, the testing and whatnot, to finally roll it out as an application that is accepted by one and all. So the IKS from here, it has to reach the state, and at every step there is a challenge, and there is a need for different groups of people working with different focus to be able to bring it from here to the entire stage of application. So that is where we say this is about civilizational perspective, about learning, understanding, teaching, dissemination, and this is where you have people, many of you from universities and academies and all that, who can work on looking up and coming up with ways of adaptation. And then finally, you need the industry which will then have to take it out in a very eco perspective, both economical and ecological.
Really important, because we're talking about ecology today, we talk about ecology, we both have to match. That's where the eco model comes to play.
So like we said, IKS is not just about the sciences, it is also about the soft skills. And fundamentally, what is it we are trying to do? We are trying to see how we can make ourselves relevant in today's times with the traditional knowledge from a successful and continuing civilization. I mean, why even bother about it? So what Basra person said this, so what somebody else said it. Does it really matter? I mean, that is all the past. But no, the track record of the Indian civilization has been its success in being a flourishing civilization and a continuing civilization. So, like we say, we must have done something good with that knowledge. That knowledge has something that helps us be on the top, flourish and continuously succeed. So what is it that you can take, and therefore, and also how to be relevant in today's times with that secrets of success. So if you look at IKS, it is actually a tool both for Indians and the world. For Indians, of course, you can instill pride, confidence and everything. For the world also, there are a lot of softer aspects that you can take apart from the sciences and the technologies in it. And fundamentally, if you look at it, a tree, for it to grow tall, its foundation, its roots have to be very strong. Otherwise, it's not going to grow tall. So and roots are where all the roots of the problems also lie. So for any problem, you have to go to the roots to understand what the problem is and take the problem out totally. So this root, if you see, is also about our identity, our traits, the legacy which we can leverage. And fundamentally, if you look at it, IKS, the subjects, various subjects of IKS actually give you the ability to relate to your land, whichever land, and it highlights this for others as well. How anybody has to relate first to their land, to the resources one has in that land, to the strengths. What would Ayurveda be if you didn't know what plants, what herbs grow there, what are the qualities of those herbs, what are the strengths of those herbs, what are the kind of diseases the people of this land get, and why are they getting those diseases? It's because of the topology, the climate, and the seasons, the pattern of the seasons, the kind of diet they eat, and therefore their body, physical body composition. So all of this, so if you're looking at Ayurveda, bulk of the Ayurveda is about knowing your land, the herbs that are there, the people, and then finally the ethos, the culture of the people. So any subject if you take, or if you take for metallurgy, anything, you have to understand this aspect before you can get out something from this knowledge base at an application level. And we always like to say, eventually it boils down to confidence and dare. You have to have confidence in that content, in the knowledge, and in the resources that your land has. And you should have the dare. So today you should have the dare to pick up IKS as a subject, delve into it, and only then you are going to be able to leverage and get some.
For this, the Bharata civilization study is very important for you to get that confidence and dare and look at what direction you take the book, not only yourself, your society, your civilization, your country, and your world, all that take it forward.
Because actually, if you see UN, they have World Economic Forum, they have made a projection of what are the kind of skills that you need in the 21st century. And they call it as social emotional learning skills, SEL skills. And totally they have identified that there are about 16 skills that you need overall. And out of these 16, only 6 are the core literacy skills. The others, 10 of the skills, they are categorizing under social economic learning skills.
See, if you look at this, what happens?
Your literacy, numeracy, scientific literacy, ICT, financial literacy, cultural and civic, all these 6 are the core foundational skills. But rest everything else is 10 of the skills are social emotional learning skills.
See, what happens is today with the flat world, I repeat the world is becoming flatter and flatter. So, the syllabus across the schools and colleges for teaching different subjects almost become flattening. So, wherever you are, your syllabus for physics, chemistry, biology, botany, zoology, computer sciences, for AI, economics, is all becoming flatter and flatter. Arts, whereas, so wherever you are, those are common now. Literally, it's getting commoner and commoner. So there is no advantage. Whereas your competencies, your character are unique and they are advantage. So you say advantage, Bharat. Where does it come from? It comes from these 2 areas. So this, we are not alone saying it. It is the World Economic Forum report of 8 years ago very clearly says this. So this is where they look at the world for the whole century ahead. So this is where we need to, we have the foundation for it, we have the structure for it. Just got to recognize it, think of it, and bring it into the education system for our students of the future decades to learn and have that advantage of Bharat in them.
See, because if you come to these 10 as well, those which are classified as competency skills, you can still aim to build through some workshops and some training that you can give them. But how do you develop? You can't train character. So for character, it has to come from within. And that can come only when you feed it with sufficient inputs to inspire it in a particular direction. To give it role models to look at and then emulate. And that comes from understanding Bharata as a civilization, understanding therefore what was the knowledge it produced. Because competency will depend on traits, which depends on the character, and these traits are then are what you inherit as your legacy. So your legacy comes from your civilization, your character. Your civilization shapes your character.
So legacy is not just a few stories. Legacy is not just what is given to you in a legal form by your parents and grandparents. So legacy is not the building. Legacy is not just the Jews.
So you have to understand yourself right from your geography, your history, your industry, your trade, your navigation, your society, all this, not just from the present. See, many of us, we do most of this in our art science courses, but how have we been doing this through millennia? If we have been a successful civilization, we have done all of this to have succeeded in the past. So what is it that we did then, and why did we do it? For instance, the reason is, so if you look at it, there are so many areas of the Bharatiya knowledge base that need to be understood, explored, can be worked on. And when we talk about identity, it is not just your identity from a geographic or historical perspective. It is also your identity from understanding who you are from a philosophical perspective as well. What was your way of looking at yourself? So, while from this knowledge base you will get facts. If you today go to the Bharatiya knowledge base, you will find many works today, and each of them filled with lot of data points and lot of facts saying we did this, we did that, and so on. But what is important is to understand the foundation that enabled us to do it, because that is what needs to get replicated now. That is what needs to be understood. So it is not, and what rules that, what gives you that framework? It is the mind as well as the mindset. So the mindset is equally important when you want to succeed and leverage your mind well. So there is a very big role for IKS. There are a lot of challenges as well for IKS, and that lies in trying to bridge the gap between the past and the future, the old and the young, ancient, modern, knowledge and wisdom. Most of IKS lies, it's not just the knowledge, it's not just Indian knowledge system, it's a knowledge system which is actually clothed in wisdom. And that wisdom is what is very important. And it's a mix of both skill set and the mindset. You can have your skills, but if you don't have the right mindset, you will put those skills to waste. So if you want those skills to sustain you and be put in a sustainable manner, it's important to understand the mindset with which things have to be approached. Because the Indian civilization, whose knowledge base we are now trying to use, and we're just beginning to start leveraging this knowledge base. If you look at it, this civilization is very, very different from the other civilizations in the world then and now too. We have had very different ways in which we have handled and looked at things. Right from, we believe things came from subtle to gross.
Actually, I think yesterday you had a program with Raji, where he's written a book called Being Different. So that's what, so he's written about it, well, the captions he brought about what Hema is coming here, trying to bring out the different ways, and all this data that you said is all in our books, that autobiography of India, which Dr.D.K.Hari mentioned about, so it's there for all of you to
especially the book Future from India in Brand Bharat series.
It's got all that, so please use this knowledge, all of you, because you're so interested in the subject, use it to take it forward. And we also know what we do is, we conduct this all as courses, very important for all of you to know, and we conduct as courses where we need to bring it forward as people. So, we will be talking to each other, it's because in the 45 minutes, 15 minutes, or close to an hour now, we can show the headlines. The finer details is what we conduct as courses for Bharata civilization knowledge, which will be glad to take people on and deal with it in detail, step by step, one by one, and take you all through it. It's a 2-year journey that we do. We'll be glad to take on people.
Because if you don't understand the civilization, everything, if you look at it, the knowledge base, it's a dharma based contextual interpretations are needed of the knowledge base that you're going to be handling. And it is also a lifestyle and conduct is totally different. So how did we apply this knowledge when we had something to apply? How did we apply? So many, from the economy model itself, from an abundance based to a scarcity based economic model that we have today. How many different things. So all of these are, so while you have IKS and you have the Shastra on one side, you have to develop the mindset of being able to understand the Shastra correctly in the right context and put it to the right use with modern relevance that you're going to get from the current, which you already are, we all are exposed to in the current system of education.
So you have what did we get in 1947? We got a Swarajya, self-rule. We also celebrate January 26th as Swatantra. But for that, the Tantra, the techniques, what you are applying is Ganatantra. So you have to have the Swatantra, we have to start applying our techniques and using our techniques to live our civilization, our life. Only then will we really reach Swavrati, that is self-reliance. For us to reach that idea of self-reliance, we need to have these both very clearly in us. Okay. So for that, when you do that, what do you have? As Emma said 10 minutes ago, you have confidence. When you have confidence, you can dare to take on everybody in a positive sense of the word, both within Bharat and other parts of the world as well. That is what's a confidence in India, to be Indian. That's why we'll have the dare also to be a world citizen with Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. All this we have already written in our article and given to Dr. Harichandra to be part of the magazine. So it's available with him. So please use it. And it's also available in our website, BharathGyan.com, which is showing here. If you visit our website, it's available there for all of you to take. There's a book itself called IKS. It's a flip book available for free read. Please do it from the BharathGyan website. And do that. And the article has also been submitted on the same subject to Harichandra, which has been publishing in the journal now. Once again, I'd like to thank you all for your very patient hearing and to Dr. Harichandra for giving us this opportunity to be a part with all of you for the last 1 hour and more. Thank you so much.